Hey everyone, it's Random Noob, and today I'm back with another Speed VOD review. I really liked how the first one did. I think a lot of people enjoyed it, so let's get back into it. Today we're doing a grand finals match between the Knights and NIP on Brightmarsh. And let's look into the draft. So starting off, Knights banned Willow on first pick on Brightmarsh. I don't know how much I actually like that. I actually think the Strix ban may be a little better, but I guess if they assume that NIP thinks you're going to first pick it here, it is all right to do the Willow ban. I don't think Willow ban is actually very good on Brightmarsh because Willow first pick on Brightmarsh is very strong in my opinion. But I guess the Knights, they've been popping off with Strix in this tournament, so they thought, you know what, let's ban the Willow, let's look for the first pick Strix, and NIP kind of just read that. So either way, honestly, what I'd like to see is some kind of random ban here, like a Mave ban, to make the Willow stronger, and then it puts NIP in a little predicament where they don't know what they want to do with the Strix or Willow. Do they want to give you Willow and then you ban Strix here? It's There's a lot Knights could have done with that, but they ended up going with the Willow ban. NIP responds with the Strix ban, which is pretty standard, and then OP bans like we were talking about in the first video. Moving on, they first pick Khan, which pretty standard, I think, unless you want to first pick the Mave. I actually think the first pick Mave is a little better, just because how strong Mave is. And when you don't first pick Mave here, you're allowing NIP to do this Mave Cassie duo, and that's pretty much the most strong duo on Brightmarsh in the game for a few reasons. One reason is that Barrick doesn't really matter. Barrick is not the best tank on Brightmarsh, and Nara is super strong on Brightmarsh, so you don't really have to have the early prioritization of Barrick that a lot of teams were doing. So you can just go with the Mave Cassie, grab the two best damages, and you're cool with getting a Nara later, or even, a double aggro comp with Io, especially if they're not going to secure Io early. So looking at that, the Knights answer with Leon. This is just like a standard fill pick. They already picked their damages, so Knights are like, well, let's just pick our damage that we're gonna pick for sure. So they're always gonna pick Leon here, and now they can hide their two other picks. They could go Pip, they could go Eevee, they could go. Those are probably the two. Bomb King, you could go as well. Pretty good pick here. Other damages you can go, maybe Drogos or they've been picking a lot of Xin. I don't know how much I actually like Xin on Brightmarsh. It's all right for sure, but the Knights are picking a lot, and it was working out pretty well. For NIP, they can really go anywhere with this draft from here. Obviously, they can't pick any more damages unless they wanted to go triple DPS, but triple DPS on Brightmarsh doesn't work that well. So what I imagine them going is, now that Khan's gone, they're probably going to go Ashe as one of their tanks, and they're either going to go Anara plus Io, or Anara plus Io, or they're going to go Ashe double aggro with like Ruckus or something like that. I prefer going Anara, and I still think Io works the best. I think Io's the best healer with all of those. You could go Furia, or I don't know. I really don't like the Genos. The Genos with the Ruckus Ashe doesn't seem that good. I think Io's just a little bit stronger. So for me, I think I would go Io, Ashe, Anara, and let's see what happens. Let's go through the draft. So there it is. It's the Io Ashe. It's kind of what I expected. I think these are the two best picks, and then you can kind of flex. If you want to go the Ruckus, you want to go the Anara, you want to go the triple DPS. I really don't think triple DPS is that good here, but you have those options. So this is a thing I like doing in a draft, and this isn't going to happen much in your rank games or anything, but just from a professional perspective on a draft, towards the end of the draft, you want to give the most possible options for this pick right here. Force the enemy team to make a decision based on all the decisions you can make here. Force them to know that, hey, you can pick a Drogos here. You can pick a really aggressive tank like Ruckus. You could pick a Nara as a slow tank. You could pick so many different things that they have to adapt their draft to all of that. And that's how you make a really strong draft. Like, I would have really hated them to go Io and Nara here, and then it's like, well, they're probably going to go Ashe because that's the best off tank left. Well, no, because they went Ashe, Knights don't know what they're going to go. They have no idea. They can go Anara, they can go Ruckus, they can go triple DPS. I think a Drogo's triple DPS with Fusillade would work really well here, actually. The NIPs ran that a few times, and it worked really well. I actually kind of like it. So I really like what NIP is doing with their draft. I think they've been drafting. They drafted this whole tournament very well. And for the Knights, it makes perfect sense to go Genos here, and Eevee just complements the Genos comp really well. And that's probably the best comp you could pick here, I think. I don't think there's really anything spicy that the Knights could go that would actually be really good. Pip struggles very hard in a Mave. If you want to like consider going Drogos and when they can go a double aggro tank, that's very spooky, especially with a Genos. Genos, it would be good with the Drogos Fusilade, with those big damage, that big damage. But I think this was the better call to go Eevee Genos. Pretty standard comp out of the Knights, but it's a good comp. Like at the end of the day, like looking at these comps. And NIP ends up Ruckus. We'll talk about all the comps after they lock this in. I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, they locked in the Ruckus. So here's our comps that we have in this game. So starting off from looking at Knight's draft, I think from top to bottom as a Genos comp, very strong. Very, very strong. You have the Khan Barrack, two of the best tanks to pair with Genos, if not the best. And you also have the Leon Eevee, which are two of the best damages to pair with Genos, if not the best. Obviously, Maeve and Cassie are pretty good themselves with Genos, but in terms of the next two, definitely the best two. So overall, like the Knights comp, I really would have liked to see them play around with the Willow first pick. I think if you can get Strix out of the game, Willow first pick is really, really good, especially maybe if you can get Maeve out of the game as well. So that's one thing I didn't really like about the Knights draft, but overall, at the end of the day, looking at it, I think it looks really good. So I cannot complain too much. Looking at NIP's draft is actually pretty spicy. I like the start of it. I really like the start of it with the Maeve Cassie, especially if you're considering going a double aggro. I think Maeve Cassie pairs with a double aggro very, very well. And also Io, interesting pick. Interesting pick on Brightmarsh. I honestly didn't know how much I liked Io on Brightmarsh, but if you're going to run double aggro, Io is by far the best healer because you can put that dog on cap and stall, let the double aggro kind of, take over. So overall, I actually like these comps a lot. I think NIP brought the spice. And if I was going to say my favorite comp, I don't know. The Maeve Cassie is such a good duo on this map, along with the Ash Ruckus. I actually think it's a slight edge to NIP. I'm saying the most slight of edges. I think Knight's draft is very, very good too. And I don't know. I really think it might be even. I think it's just going to come down to who plays this map the best because both these comps are very, very strong in my opinion. I think, actually, I'm going to give the edge to Knights, honestly, in terms of draft, just because I don't really like Ruckus on this map that much, but if you can make it work, it does work really well. So looking at the legendaries, nothing too spicy on the legendaries. Really, everything's pretty standard here. Nothing spicy at all. Everyone went the pretty standard legendary. So let's move on to the point fight. And it looks like, and like we said, we're gonna go normal, like we did in the last video for point fights. See how it works. So NIP pushes up this right side, which works pretty well on Brightmarsh. If you can control that field on that right side of the map, and just let your flanks 1v1 like this. Ooh, we love to see those 1v1s, man. They're always spicy. I'm surprised Alex is actually playing this so safe. I guess he's worried about the Genos pocket, which makes sense. Eevee with the Genos pocket, very hard to win a 1v1 against. And the fight's just getting spicy already. You can tell these teams have been going at it. They've just been going at it. Like they're not playing slow. Ooh, the Ruckus. The Ruckus lives. So this is the problem with NIP's comp, really. They just want to fight pretty well, I think. Like, maybe not. Maybe they didn't win it, but they got 0 cap time because they were ahead for most of it. I think they played that pretty well. Actually, that was more of a pretty even fight, actually, to be honest. Maybe even a little bit ahead for Knights. So these fights are going to be scrappy. They're going to happen quick because NIP, they have 2 aggro tanks. They don't have a point tank. They can't just take fights slow. They have to make something happen or else they're just going to get out capped right here. See, look at that. Knights at 99% on cap already. That's what's going to happen. So if your comp in your rank games has a double aggro tank like this, you have to make something happen as your flank. That's why I really didn't like what Alex did. I didn't really like that. I think even though he has the Genos pocket, I think you have to make a play. And Simsalo's 6-0. Wow, he's popping off. Jeez. I think Alex had to play that a little bit more aggressively. All right, let's pop into 1.5 speed for the pushes and Ds here. And really good ult, or a really good counter ult by Alex. He stopped the Eevee ult very well. I think Simslo got a little aggressive there, just a tad bit aggressive, Simsy. But he's been playing this game super well, so it's hard not to be. And that's That's really well played out of NIP. Just beautiful use of teamwork here. Ash dives in. You see where Alex is? Boom. Diving in on the other side, just killing them as well at the same time. And they got 2 picks for it. And that's just how you play Paladins right there. So they're cleaning up all the kills. Knights is getting staggered out a little bit, and we're going to get another fight here. Wow, it looks like Knights are playing a little overly aggressive here. I didn't really like that. That's... They were forced to use Connalt for the trade. That you never want to do that. And then NIP kind of over-aggressed here as well. But these fights are so scrappy. It's actually insane. Competitive Paladins, the fights just are extremely scrappy. Okay, so as a Leon, on this push for the Knights, they're gonna want to set their Leon up here. Their Eevee's gonna be one in this area over here on the right, kind of blinking through this window. Their barrack, you're gonna want to hold this area as a barrack, maybe like behind this wall, because you're very safe here. And you basically your whole job here is to hold this choke, this line right here. Do not let anyone past it, because it is so hard for the defensive team to get past this line and not without feeding, without dying, if you're holding it correctly. So everyone on Knights should be basically setting up around this area, around this line. Leon in this house, Simsy somewhere over here holding it, Barrack somewhere holding this house, and their off tank holding this house as well. It's like you want your con like around here in this house as well. So you're really holding this right side of the map right here as the offense super hard until that point comes about right here. So let's see what they end up doing. So for NIP, they're gonna have to break that. They're gonna have to go through it. So let's see what ends up happening. So they're pretty much setting up exactly like I said. Very good setup, and NIP is trying to dive through it. That's the best thing you can do. And look at that. They're feeding, like I said. So that's just a really good setup out of Knights. And pretty much exactly what I just said happened. Like, they had to go through it, and they fed, because that was their only option. They really couldn't do anything else. So let's see if Knights can... Oh, they end up committing Connalt. Okay. And from here, really, if your team's doing this in a ranked game, just if you get that first pick, and it's on a damage, play it slow. Do not take a risk. This is going to be a push 100% of the time, especially when they don't have a point tank. They're going to have to commit either Assault or something, and even then, it's still probably going to get pushed in just because of the situation. Like, Cassie's on 8-second death timer here, so play it slow, play it smart, kill people together. Here, target the Ruckus. Ruckus goes down. Alex goes down too. Now they're not going to want to commit Assault. They're just going to let it go through. And that's like honestly kind of a strategy you can use. So, as a team defending, because of comeback mechanic, you could just save all your ults here. Save all your ults, win the next point fight with comeback mechanic, and it's going to be a lot easier for you. If you commit ults here and get the defense, you might certainly lose the 2-1, and then all of a sudden, they push it in, and they're up 3-1. So, the exact same thing happens, except you get the bonus credits. You get the 300 credits because you won the second point because you had comeback mechanic. Obviously, it's not guaranteed. You could go down 3-0. It's somewhat of a risk, but if you get those extra 300 credits, that could be enough to change the game later on. So moving on to the second point, it looks like everyone completely gives up this side of the map. So apparently NIP really didn't like this side, and they wanted to switch it up, go right, and I actually kind of like it. They want to support Alex. That's what it seems like to me. They want to support Alex. They want to get rid of, make sure Simsy's not just free fighting. Wow, Simsy has Haven 2. Haven 2 really good here, by the way. Really good buy. I like that a lot out of Simsy. So it looks like they're just trying to support Alex here, kind of give up the left side of the map. But I would like to see Knights take that control, have Leon push through here, and take that area of the map. See what ends up happening, and it looks like that is what they do. And Knights react very well to this. And they even... Oh, that was a really good stop on the Ash Dash by Zarini. Wow, Zarini's playing this really well. As long as he lives this, wow, they're collapsing on him super hard. Alright, that was a little... Maybe a little greedy on that dash stop. I think he maybe could have gotten to a safer position. He took way too much damage post the stop, and he was able to get Ash ulted on. And that was just a really good Ash ult by Deji. Like, if you're going to Ash ult and you could bonk your head here and land here instantly to stun 2 people, it's such a good position. Like, the stronger position for your Ash ult or your Barrack Dome or whatever your zoning ult for a tank of any sort, get it in those positions, get it in those chokes that people have to go through. And look, they're going to have to go through it at this point. There's 80% of the cap, so I just really like the how NIP's playing this. They're abusing comeback mechanic, saved their ults, they had a really good first point fight, and they're just going to win the cap really fast. And the zoning ult at IO, great. Great ult, Bird. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh. You guys know I love my zoning ults. You know I love them. And NIP's just going to straight up lose the next fight, but they won the point, so that's all that matters. Let's go to the 1.5. And they won the point, and that's all that matters in Paladins. Doesn't matter if you lose the next fight. It's always tilting as a team, too, when you lose the point, and it's just because you couldn't touch. Because, like, he was an inch away from that point, and he just didn't touch there. So it's a little tilting. Because you could have won the next fight and maybe won the point, but you got to move on from that. You can't really think about that stuff during a game. You're just going to, you know, lose a little bit more of the map instead of just doing what Knights are doing. Like, Knights completely stalled them for a minute. And they played their defense really far up, and they didn't get anywhere on the cap. And there's something to note with pushing. It takes a minute to get across this entire bar on any map. I believe. I'm not sure about any map. I've timed it, and it takes about a minute to get across this whole thing. So if you can waste a minute down to 130, they have about 30-second leeway to get that point all the way across. Obviously, overtime doesn't, makes that a little wrong, but it's about a minute. So if you can waste a minute at the start of a push like that, you're pretty much going to guarantee a defense. And Bunny goes for the ult and kind of... Ooh! The knockoff! Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful. I love me some knockoffs. I'm not going to lie. I love that. Digi's playing this really well. And he's going to ult here. Okay, very interesting ult. They did just use con ult, so I actually like that ult a lot. As Ashe, you want to be playing around the con ult. Like, you hear a con ult go off, boom, use your ult. Because if you ult and then con just counters your ult completely, it sucks. It sucks so bad. So, I actually really like this ult by Digi. He ends up... Wow, he ends up living that. At 7 health. You're kidding me. He's still alive. Oh, man. Simsy could have hit that shot. Wow. Wow. Okay. NIP is on the push. And they were doing basically the same thing I was talking about on the other D, where they were just holding that edge. At this point, it's going to be really tough to push this for Ninjas in Pajamas if Knights sets this up correctly. If they set up their barrack behind this tree right here, it's going to be really hard for the Knights to kill that, because you can just set your DPS up on high ground. And actually, I see his Rini right here. It looks like he's going to that position I'm talking about. And they're just going to set their DPS on high ground. Eevee's going to blink up from up here. Khan's going to drop to like this position probably, or maybe behind tree even. And they're just going to set a super safe position. And it's going to be pretty hard to break from this point. Like, if you want to capture on Bright Marsh, you really need to snowball it. You can't have them set up. It needs to be snowballed, and it doesn't look like it's going to be here. Oh, Simsy's playing really aggressive, but he's got his dome shield. So, I actually really like that out of Simslow. That was very smart. Really well played. He basically just let's go back here. He knew his barrack was going to dome in this scenario because they probably calmed it. Like, hey, we're going to have to use dome if we want to defend this. So he drops here to put his blink spot right behind the dome so that he can get even more aggressive and get in the backline and kind of ult and zone them off. Because that ult, it's going to force them to go into either in the open or they're going to be crippled. And if they're crippled behind here, they're not helping their team. If they're in the open, they're dying. So very, very well played. I actually like that a lot. Really well played. And that's it for the defense. Knights end up committing Barrack Dome and get the D. So let's move on to the mid. So moving on to the next point fight, it looks like Knights are going to want to take this left side of the map. I do see a few red bodies over there, a few red jerseys. It looks like there's going to be a brawl on this left side. Cuss is using his ult early. So what this ult is on the other side of the map, you can kind of see it. It is completely zoning off this room. And what NIP is, either they have to get past it, or they have to completely wait on their mounts, or they get hit by it. Unless you're a tank that can completely eat it and get healed up, which honestly isn't very good either, it's gonna hurt. So I really like this ult to start off the mid if you want to get control of that left side. and see what it ends up doing. It ends up giving them complete control. NIP had to play really slow. Actually, Cassie got through, and Bonker's making a very aggressive play here. Is he going to get punished for it? No, 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 no. Cuss gets picked off already. I don't know how that happened, but Bonker making a great amount of space. It's okay. Yeah, this. Okay, so basically what happened here, Bonker goes off lip, dives in here, and everyone focuses him. But he's getting pocketed by Io as well as Ruckus is just very tanky. Just extremely tanky, extremely hard to kill just because he's so mobile. And if you're going to all hard focus the tank like that, your Maeve's going to come through here and get picks. So Simsalo was helping left way too hard, and the Maeve got through and killed Cuss for free. And having your Genos die first in a fight, that is not good. That's pretty much going to signal a loss in the fight, especially if it goes past another 5-6 seconds. That's just well played and very good dive, because now look at NIP, they have comeback mechanic. This is just over. If they do okay, so this point, this right here, you want to hold the chokes on zones. Hold the chokes. So I was talking about that choke on defense. Hold this choke on offense when you're zoning like this. They have to go through here to get into this side, or they have to go through here to get on this left side. If you're controlling this right here, and you have your Ruckus on high ground, or someone just holding this area in this side of the map, and your IO has dog on cap, because that's broken, by the way. That's so broken, dude. Oh, man. I love it, though. I love it. I can't deny it. But great zone by NIP. They're setting up perfectly. I think there should be 0% chance Knights touches this, even if NIP dies. Like, you have comeback mechanics. Zone this super hard. The only person that cannot die is IO. So, that is something to note. If a team is zoning with their dog like this, and you can kill the IO, killing the IO removes the person from cap, because the dog dies with it. Very, very interesting. That's happened a few times to us in scrims and stuff. It never happened to a tournament, fortunately. But killing the IO to stop the cap is 100% a viable strategy. So the IO has to play actually very safe. And wow, just Ruckus ult from the high ground. Okay. Yeah, that's how you win a cap right there. That's how you win a cap. So well played. I actually would have liked to see Simsalo play that a little bit more aggressively. I think he just gave it up too early. I think he possibly could have got behind. Very unlikely, for sure. Very unlikely. But he at least should have made an effort, because they're going to have to regroup anyways. He would have just respawned with his team. I think he just played a little safe there. I think that's just one of those things where you got to take a risk on Eevee. You got to take a risk. All right, let's go to faster speed here. So the Knights are looking to defend this. If they do defend this, it will be a 3-2 with another mid-fight. If they don't defend this, we will be going to a 3-3 end of the game. If NIP wins, they win the World Championship of HRX for 2019, which would be pretty sweet. Obviously, I don't want to spoil. Like, I'm trying to pretend like this is the first time we've seen this game, just so you know, it doesn't ruin anyone who it is the first time seeing this game. You never know. So NIP pretty much just won a staggered fight super hard for a long time. It was just a very staggered fight. Knights were just kept dying. It seems like they might be a little off. They're a little uncoordinated right now. They're not playing together as a team as well as they were at the start of this game, and it makes sense. This game's going longer. It's gonna happen at some points. You're gonna disconnect from your team, but you got to try to stay connected as much as possible, because you never know. The game's not over until it goes 4-3 or 4-0 or someone hits 4 points. You know, it's never over. So exactly what I'm talking about in these offenses. NIP sets up Cassie here, Maeve and one off tank here, and another off tank kind of holding this left side. And IO just central in the back, very safe. If anyone tries to kill this IO like Eevee or something, she's just going to live. Like, there's nothing they can do. So for NIP to break this, they're going to have to get a pick on a tank. They're going to have to either kill Khan, they're going to have to kill Barrick. One or the other. And they're going to have to just play with their lives. Like, and they're playing with them really well, actually. They're staying low on health, but they're staying alive. And if Ricotta gets picked off first, that is not right. That should never happen. Ricotta should never die there. And that issue is probably going to be too big to succumb. Like, look at that. Leon goes down and everyone falls between, like, after. Like, Leon cannot die there. She's playing the safest position on the map. She's literally on high ground. I believe she's on high ground. I don't know why she would have ever dropped off in that situation. But if she did, that was a pretty big mistake. She should be on high ground just living. And now they just got to sack to point, and it should be a push. Yep, NIP push. So that just seemed like a mistake from high ground. Ricotta playing a little aggressive there. And let's hop into the next point fight. So looking at the alts real quick, just to call it, NIP saved all their alts for that push, which is pretty standard for a push like that. You don't want to commit anything and kind of lose your ults for nothing, and especially when you're down, because you're going to have to win that next point fight to win the game. And no matter what, if you push it, you're going to have to win the next point fight. If you don't push, you're going to have to win the next point fight to stay alive. Otherwise, you're out. So I really like how they saved all their ults. For the Knights, Ricotta did use his ult very recently, and besides that, they have everything else. So besides Ricotta wasting his ult on whatever, I don't know what he used it on. He probably should have saved it. For overall, we have all alts on the team, so this is going to be a bloody fight with a lot of ultimates. And NIP starts off with the Cassie ult. Let's move this to 1.0 speed. And let's see. 3-3-point fight. Let's go, baby. Let's see what you guys got. So it looks like Knights are going to look for a con ult before the dive, but you can't do that when they have Mave ult. You can't. They Mave ult and their Ruckus just dives through onto Genos, and that can never happen. Cuss has to play the safer if they want to win. He has to play that safer. He cannot die there. That's just such a big death. It's probably going to be very impactful in this. Like, NIP can completely zone this. Bonker does end up getting traded out, but Knights is going to have to play very, very safe. And I wonder how aggressive NIP is going to play. If they have Ash ult, they're going to play pretty aggressive. I'll tell you that. They're going to play real aggressive and try to make space for their Ruckus. So this is what I see happening right here. NIP is going to hold this area very safe. And they're just going to kind of control this area of the map with Ash ult. And they're going to have their Ruckus come back on Mount somewhere and ult. He has ult, and he probably has Master Riding too, because that's NIP's way. They buy Master Riding, and they try to get their Ruckus on people. And I think it's going to be very impactful. That's my guess and what NIP is setting up for. And yes, they are setting up for their respawners. Guaranteed. That does happen in pro games. You are setting up for when your respawners are coming back, where they're coming back from on their mounts, and you're making plays that way. So, looks like they're playing very safe here. They know they're going to... Yep. What did I... did you guys see that? Did you guys see that over there? Ruckus? Ruckus on his mount? And look at where he... Genos. Cause. Not again, brother. Not again. Oh, man. He didn't even have to use ult to get 2 kills. Oh, man. That's it, unless Simslo can make a hero play here. And that's very smart, actually. That's very smart to fly over the top there. Because... Actually, what I would have liked to see is him fly over here. But I'm cool with him flying in this area. But for him to touch, he's going to have to blink back and forth and stuff like that. And you need to make your position unknown. And the best way to do that is soar on top, because you could soar back, you could soar here, you could soar there, you could soar to this side of the map. They're not going to really know where you are. So it's kind of spread out their team, and you can maybe get a few more touches. I don't think it's going to matter, but it is something to note, because sometimes it does matter. Sometimes your team will be able to help you, and that's GG. And that's NIP winning the HRX World Championship right there. Congrats to them. They were definitely the better team this season. 100%. I think they had a great year. Just really, I think they deserved it 100%. And unfortunately, they never did the scoreboards for this match, probably because it was just the end, and they wanted to hype up NIP, which is cool. And that's fine with me. I mean, overall, Simslo played really well. I think everyone on the Knights played well. I think there's a few mistakes from Ricotta towards the end that maybe cost this game. But overall, Ricotta played amazing. Like, Ricotta was nuts this tournament. So, you know, people make mistakes. And when you're playing the best team in the world, which is NIP this year, you're going to make mistakes. And that's how it is. So overall, very well played by NIP. I think they 100% deserved it. And that's it for the Speed Wild review. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know, like, we're learning still. This is still only the second one we've done. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know any games you guys want to see in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And I will see you in the next vid. Peace.